Alright, right bags, it's time to go. We've got lots to cover today in the sensational, outrageous ARK news. I say that because there is some stuff in here you guys need to know. If you're wondering about Nintendo Switch, why the hell can it not be updated? Also, big issue of course is duping going on Xbox. Is it happening again? Are players duping items to help them win their PvP battles? And of course the big one that everyone is desperate to know, when the frick is Val Guero gonna come to console? Today is the day they're launching their brand new summertime event, the Summer Bash. Many people unhappy at the thought of possibly only playing this event on a server before moving over to Val Guero. What is exactly going on with Val Guero? To all them idiots that told me Val Guero wasn't delayed because they never actually told a date, I have proof from developers today they actually plan to release Val Guero at exactly the same time as PC. But as always, they didn't test it thoroughly enough and it got rejected by Xbox and PlayStation. So all of that is in the ARK news. I am Jade, welcome Ratbags, let's crack on. So Sed has been answering a lot of tweets, and he does answer a lot of tweets. Sometimes people are going to get upset he's not answering the right questions, in their opinion, and other times he's maybe going on a tangent on stuff. That's just what people do, and that's what community managers do. Their job is to give us information, but it's also just to be themselves and talk whatever nonsense and anything they want to talk about on Twitter. Zed does get quite a bit of heat though. He's got quite a jovial and he likes to keep things nice and light where he can. But on this occasion, he's replying to someone who'd asked or basically moaned and complained before they got blocked about the update or the Val Guero map not being here on time, being illegal. How is offering a free DLC that was not available at the point of purchase at a different time illegal? Consoles require extra development plus optimization equals more time. We were hoping to launch in parallel. 2 weeks ago when I did a video entitled Val Guero console release delay, there was an actual plan for them to release it at the same time as console. As I told you guys in this video, they just simply couldn't get it done because they just couldn't pass certification. It was delayed. Now Xbox and PlayStation have got this going on more. They do need more development and more optimization. And it looks like Wildcard may have probably knew it wasn't going to happen, hence why they didn't release any reveal dates until the very last moment. Now there is no real time limit on this stuff. Some people have said it takes a month, other people say it can take only a few days. The reality is that normally a brand new game that needs console port-in or comes out on console normally has at least 1 month of a first certificate process, i.e. you have to put it in there a month beforehand. That gives Xbox and PlayStation both time to go through and say anything's wrong with it. Now Xbox and PlayStation don't really look at the game running correctly. They don't really care about bugs and issues. All they're trying to surmise is, can people connect to the game? Will the game run for a prolonged period of time? And believe it or not, that doesn't even mean that the game can't crash. When they do the certification testing, they're literally making sure it can boot up and it will run for maybe 20 minutes. If the game carries on crashing after that, there really isn't actually anything that Xbox and PS4 actually look for. They're also there to make sure there's no malware in the game. They're also making sure that any online connectivity is also okay. But again, that is not 100% confirmation of a game having to appear. Plenty of games have launched their online components months later. When it comes to DLC and updates, the processing time is actually a lot shorter. You can submit something and it can be ready that day. Hence why we have lots of hotfixes for games that come out immediately. But with content, anything that changes the database registry files or changes how you boot up the game, that sometimes does need a little bit longer. Zed does feel pretty confident in it happening this July. There's already loads of memes going around about when it's going to be possibly coming. Loads of people are doing fake pictures. This one says July the 14th, that one says July the 7th. And I've seen other pictures supposedly from wikis that say August. But according to Zed, he is pretty confident that it is going to be in July. Zed's also said it's his birthday on July 31st, and at least we know Val Guero will be out by then. Now hopefully that's the case guys. Like I said, there's no guarantee that whatever they've put through for console is going to come back and it is going to be okay to load up and actually work. But they do seem pretty confident in saying it's coming in July. I know it's not the news we want an actual release date. It's absolutely crucial for us to get this information, mainly because we see so much on YouTube and streamers playing the Val Guero map already on PC. We just want to play it. Right, let's crack on. There's actually so much more to go over, including Bloom on console, Zed has been replying, and also some brand new beta branch for some upcoming balanced meta changes. This looks like it's probably going to be mostly PvP balanced or enabled. But it's going to be interesting to see what they're rolling out. It's going to be some sort of test live server. And they clearly want to get some feedback before releasing it. So it must be something pretty big. But first, the Summer Bash today kicks off at 5 PM UTC time. Obviously, the Summer Bash gives you brand new panties to go and get. You've got new skins, and there's going to be event colour dinos in the good old sort of colour balance of the American flag. Celebrating July the 4th in the right way. These are the event dino colours: navy, red, white, sky blue, brick, blue, silver, parchment, mud, orange. It's going to have the usual sort of stuff, but it's also going to have 2 times mating interval, egg hatch speed and maturation, as well as the other stuff it already had. Quick whiz over the community crunch that got posted last night. I'll give you guys this info every single Tuesday. There's not a lot going on other than just rehashing what they announced on Friday with the ARK Summer Bash. The modding contest has closed. I told you guys about that on Sunday. You can go and check out that video if you want more information. It's not a guarantee, and definitely some people were trying to say this is a bit clickbaity. But when you consider that the centre map, Val Guero and Ragnarok all came from winning the modded program or the modded competition, I don't think it's out the realms of possibility that one of these future mods might possibly come to console. But don't worry, I'm not about to do 200 videos about them all the time. I will be taking a look at them though when they come out in their spotlight form. Basically, Wildcard are now deciding which of the mods are going through to the next round. And once they've decided that, we get to choose what mods are going to win. There's 2 categories, one for maps, one for just gameplay mods. So I'm going to give you the rundown on all of them. On top of that, 2 more mods have been added to the sponsored mod program. Now this is the one where people get paid every month to have their mod in there. Automated ARK, which sounds a little bit like Satisfactory, like automation stuff. I love the idea of that. I really love Satisfactory. No one else on my channel did. It's a game that I would love to play a little bit more. So maybe I can combine it with a little bit of ARK. So I may give this one a go as a showcase. And Antarctica, I did mention this map as well. I think it's actually been taken out of the modding competition, the one where you can win $10,000, and it's been put into the sponsored mod program. Again, I showed you a little bit of this, how it's 80% snow and ice, very much based on sort of Norway or Iceland or places like that. So they're both getting $4,000 a month now in the sponsored mod program to hopefully complete their mods. There's some server maintenance, July the 3rd, there's going to be big changes 4 PM UTC time, mainly for OC servers, classic servers as well. And that's obviously on PC because they're the only ones that have the classic servers. And that is pretty much it, a pretty dry, once again, community crunch. Not even a social media roundup on this one. Now this is interesting, someone was really trying to get across to said that they need to fix the bloom. We all have, I think everyone is sick of seeing this blinding light anytime you have certain items on your base. Or just looking at the sun. Said has said, I'm waiting for clarification on this, but I did bring up the concern with the dev team. So hopefully this means there will be a fix in the future. It's pretty ridiculous, we've had this since before launch. They took this feature away when it came out of early access on Xbox. I don't think they ever had the ability to change it on PS4, although I could be wrong. PC, you can change your gamma, you can do all sorts. And I do believe on single player you can change certain things using commands. But whenever you move on to an actual server, it doesn't stay there. If you're thinking this isn't a big deal, it's a massive deal to people. It really does stop them enjoying the game sometimes. And you can forget ever trying to build anything out of metal. Mainly because it just does absolutely blind you. So fingers crossed, I'll keep you updated if we get a fix for that one. Now you guys know I've been banging a drum talking about Nintendo Switch version. If you don't know, that game hasn't had any updates other than a server connection fix since November when it launched. At the time, the devs, the community team, including Said himself, said that content would be coming. We would see maybe some of the season pass content or more content like the other maps coming out during this year. Not to mention the fact it is the worst way to play Ark Survival Evolved. Buggy, glitchy, literally just an absolute mess. Abstraction, the studio behind the port, have said they can fix it, they can make it and improve it, but for some reason Wildcard or whoever ported the game or gave the decision to port it won't allow that update to happen. Maybe because of money issues, who knows. But it is one of the biggest cash grabs I have seen and definitely one of Wildcard's lowest points. Charging £44 with absolutely no updates or content fixes. Now someone else is a little bit annoyed about this letter they received, a fan letter. And in their answer or question, they asked them why they had so much time defending a letter, yet you got no answers on the horrid Switch release. According to Zed, he said, "I've talked about both. I can tweet about these things every day if you'd like, but there's nothing I'm permitted to say on the Switch matter," which is brand news to me. I've not seen Zed comment anything about the Switch. And you guys know I pretty much stalk these devs day and night. Regardless of whether or not Zed has said something in the past, Wildcard do need to make some sort of official statement or some sort of post on their forums. That's where all this information should always be, not just replies on Twitter. But it does seem to me like there is some big internal struggle. If you actually look on your copy of Nintendo Switch, I'm pretty sure it says it's published or made by Snail Games and not Wildcard. Now, I'm not taking any heat away from Wildcard because at the end of the day, it's still their product and I still feel like they should be opening up a little bit, or at least trying to get some sort of answer from Snail. It's a weird situation, but Snail Games own the ARK IP. They are a company that actually owns everything that Wildcard do in relation to ARK Survival Evolved. So they make decisions about where that game gets ported, what updates that game may possibly receive on lots of other platforms. But it looks like Wildcard still retains some ownership of what they do for the base game on consoles, on Xbox, PS4 and PC. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but that's what I can gather from looking at all the information over the years. It's why some server types haven't come to console or haven't been made bigger or expanded upon, like small tribes or recently like the classic servers. They were actually made or marketed towards their Chinese player base from Snail Games, who thought it'd be a good idea. Or equally the Conquest servers that were running, that again was a Snail Games initiative angled towards their Chinese player base, which there are absolute thousands of people in China that love ARK Survival Evolved. They've also got the ARK Online game. If you don't remember this, a couple years ago they put this out there in China. There is an online version of ARK only. It's pretty much some horrendous sort of cash grab, put microtransactions in the game to get guns and PvP style situation. But that is something to consider. It does look like the rumours are true. The Abstraction devs told Wildcard or told Snail Games it wasn't ready to be ported out, it wasn't ready to be published. And according to what I've seen and read before, the big people in charge said do it anyway. So I am going to be really pressing this up, guys. I told you I'm going to be making a special video talking about Nintendo Switch, and I am going to just keep hammering it home this point. We need some sort of fucking answer. Don't get me wrong, there's not thousands of people playing the game, but there is definitely a core base. Some of you guys that replied to my last video have told me about your experience on Switch and said they actually enjoy a lot of it. But for sure, they do have a right to have the same sort of content as everyone else, considering they've paid just as much money. And especially when the devs have said that content is going to be coming. So I told you at the start of the video, we're going to be talking about duping on console, on Xbox. And this is what I got told or spoken about from Twitter earlier on last week. According to some sources, and I've looked this up a little bit more, there is duping going on of chocolates. Now, if you don't remember the Valentine's update, they gave you chocolates as a reward for doing certain things or for gathering or killing certain creatures, I do believe. And according to this guy Reginald, there is a lot of shady shit going down on console at the moment. People are selling creatures and mechs that have been duped. Not only mechs that have been duped, but these chocolates are also affecting PvP and balance and gameplay. What they're basically doing is they're using them to restore full HP. People are bringing out their creatures from cryopods to have a war or battle or do something, and they're able to basically restore all of their health straight away. So that means people can cryo chamber their dinosaurs multiple times and not worry about the effects of the cryo sleep, which basically knocks your creature out or stops you from getting engaged a little bit more if you keep doing it or bringing it out of stasis. Now it says here there's a 3-hour cooldown timer, but it does seem that people are using these duped chocolates somehow, and they're using them on Xbox servers right now. Now I don't want to say this is definitely happening, these were just some tweets I got sent, but he did DM me a whole host more pictures. And I have looked on a few forums, particularly on Facebook, and yeah, there is definitely a lot of talk about people absolutely having thousands of these chocolates. The mech situation I'm not 100% sure on, but for certain it does look like people are getting hold of these chocolates somehow. So I'm sure Wildcard know about it since this guy said he's reported it multiple times. If you've got any more information about this, comment down below. Let me know if you've seen the chocolates being used a lot, or if you've raided people and found thousands of them in their bases. It might not be on a level of the duping that was happening just before ARK released fully out of early access on Xbox and the PlayStation back in the day. That's why the legacy servers were created, because they were just filled with duped items and duped high level dinosaurs. But nevertheless, it's still a bit of a worry and a concern. Alright, so that's a lot of stuff to process, a lot of stuff to go through. But let's talk about Val Guero and actually where it's at right now in terms of what fixes it's had. So I'm disappointed. You guys know I prefer playing ARK on console. I'm going to have my ARK Val Guero servers running on both systems for you guys. All you have to do is just join Discord and ask for the ARK Val Guero role, and we'll give you a rank and you can see the server password when it's available. We have got servers running at the moment on Ragnarok and Ireland. I'm really starting to think it's probably been a good idea that PC have been our test guinea pigs. There have been a lot of meshing exploits on Val Guero. I found a couple. I didn't want to include it, but in some of my tutorials and guides going through the cave systems particularly, I found lots of places where you could get under the mesh. I did report it on the Val Guero Discord, where they've got bugs and glitches and stuff, a special channel. But for sure, the map needed extra work in making sure it wasn't a mesh fest. Also, another thing was that people were having Deinonychus just absolutely so quick and easy. They were actually spawning in their nests because it was too hot. So now they've increased the temperature, so it's going to have to be a much higher temperature. So you are going to have to grab them and do the usual trick of lots of torches or lots of fires. They shouldn't be spawning in the nests anymore and dying straight away. Another one was where the Deinonychus just really was derpy. It just wasn't controlling right. It was jumping from certain places. Trying to get it to actually jump or latch onto certain stuff just was really difficult. And the rotating backwards when jumping up walls, or it was almost teleporting to the last point it was at. That looks like that's all been fixed on PC in the last few days. An update for everyone, and this kind of went unnoted. Cryopods and Cryofitch engrams are now available on all maps, guys. You will be able to learn this now. It's been a big component, I feel, that people have been able to have to buy the DLC to get some of this gear. So now you can earn these anywhere. So if they do eventually open up transfers for Val Guero in a couple months, is what they normally do, you will be able to use hopefully these cryopods and stuff to make that transfer a little bit easier. So just a small one, but it does look like I said, Val Guero has been receiving more care and attention to stop cheaters, and the Deinonychus has had a big buff and a lot of fixes done to it. So there we go, just another video done and dusted, loads of information. I really am not ragging on Ced. I think he's doing a fairly decent job, and I know he's limited by what he can and what can't say. But it is time to start getting answers. We want to know what's happening with ARK. We'd like a roadmap of when plans are going to change, when we're going to see some bug fixes of long-standing issues. And this new content is great, but it's not the be-all end-all. We all want ARK to work a lot better. So I'll let you guys know the minute it's available on console. I will be the first person to tell you guys. Come and join my Discord now if you want to learn how to come and play on my servers. And I'll see you ratbags for another ARK Survival Evolved Roundup watch news video thingamajig very soon.